So
we should be back. I think we're back now. We are back.
Okay.
I think. I don't really know.
That's thinking.
Thinking. Well, either way, we're glad to be here, and while we figure out our technical difficulties, I am going to share an interpretive dance moment.
Oh, jeez.
Just kidding. I think that was a no from my
That's
wife.
not good. Oh, no.
Interpretive dance?
Oh, there we go. We're back now.
All right. So there was a Goin Batty stream that is not working, so we're gonna shut that one off.
Okay.
And go back to the chameleon and all right. Not exactly the way we wanted to start, but hey, these are never quite exactly what we thought we were gonna do. Looking for. There's no pressure like when a YouTube goes, "You're live,"
and then you're not.
So.
Shush. Roll.
We have a few things for you tonight. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by my computer because I want to see.
I should probably turn the volume down so you can't hear him.
Yeah,
talking.
That would be good. That would be very helpful. So I don't know if we're on the right live stream or not, but there it is anyway. I don't see anybody in our live stream. I think they were all gathering at the other one.
Okay. Let's see.
And so maybe they're coming back, maybe they're not. I don't know for sure.
Katie, you're on the wrong one.
No, I'm on the right one now.
Okay.
Oh, Living Like Claire's on.
Yay! Okay, they found us.
First. Good.
I guess technically she's first on this one, but her mom was actually first on the last
other one.
So.
Yeah. We as always, the Goin Batty clan is having technical difficulties, so thanks for joining us back again. Sorry, Krista. That's us and our craziness. It's just our Wi-Fi was connected to our printer.
Yeah.
And so we had to switch it
Yeah.
and connect it to like the internet. So that's why you guys are having to relog in. Lone Star was here a second ago, and we had to cut him off. So we apologize for our lack of wisdom in the technical
difficulties. Whatever.
How you doing? It's gonna be one of those nights.
Yep.
We have a fun show, I think. A lot to talk about. And we just want to take a second and welcome everybody. There's been it's been a busy week. There's been some loss. There's been some gain. There's been some fun. I did that wrong.
Doing?
Pulled that
Stop
wrong.
touching things.
I'm touching stuff.
Don't touch things.
Back over there.
Stop touching
Keep
things.
going. Keep going. All
There
right.
we go.
Oh,
Too far.
too far.
Thank you.
There
Kate.
it is. All right. Sorry. Anyway, it is. It's good to be here. I'm glad that we're back. We've had a long weekend though. We've had a good weekend. What did we do all weekend? All kinds of stuff.
Stuff.
With the things.
I don't
So
remember.
I was on the internet and I found a little test for you and I that we could share with everybody on the live stream as they go.
You know I've just done a whole day of school with the kids.
I know, but this is more fun because it's homesteading testing.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to take a test.
How about this? Conversation. Homesteading conversation. I found a website that has over 100 things that are skills that homesteaders need. And so what I thought I'd do is I'd mention some of them, and you and I could talk about them, and our live feed could talk about them. We're not going to go through all 107, but we certainly could because there's plenty.
That would make me want to shoot myself in the head.
There's so much fun, though. I mean, there's
too
so much.
Too many questions.
It's so much. There's so much great stuff to talk about. You know. One thing that is annoying me is I can't see everything I want to see on the interweb. So I'm looking to change that real quick.
Okay.
But anyway, why don't we start out with the Goin Batty kitchen and talk about what's going on in there and some of the things that you've got planned for the upcoming Goin Batty moments.
Well, we yesterday made what we call Batty bowls, which is like salad on steroids, and we had an avocado ranch dressing that we put on it that we made homemade. And I guess the next thing I'm making is that avocado ranch dressing because I had like 6 people ask for that recipe.
Yep.
So I guess I'm going to be making that. And it was awesome. It was good. So, yeah, that's good. And I think I'm looking at maybe for Cookie Friday about making whoopie pies for Cookie Friday. So,
and we skipped Cookie Friday this past week, didn't we?
yeah, we just didn't get to it. In fact, we were at somebody else's house cooking things last Friday, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were, weren't we?
So, yeah.
That's sometimes we're going to get to Cookie Friday and sometimes we're not. We apologize if we missed anybody. So, we are looking at the internet and
Sorry. If I like respond to somebody here and I mistype your name, it has been a long day today. And so I am like, I know you do type with your thumbs, but I'm literally all thumbs today, and I'm like, nah, I can't spell anything, and even autocorrect is like, what? So
yeah. And I'm not extremely focused today, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But my hope is we can talk about something that'll...
So Lone Star is here, and
awesome.
So is JM at the Nut House.
Hey,
I love that name.
JM at the Nut House.
Yes. Canning anything. So I think for what we had, I made sauerkraut, and I canned that. And I know some people say, like, no, don't can sauerkraut because you kill all the good bacteria when you can it. But we had so much of it that we didn't have a place to store it without it being canned. So we also did salsa last year. We had some tomatoes, not as many as we're going to have this year. But so this year we might do salsa and tomato sauce and just canned tomatoes in general because you can use those in just about anything. So, but you know, I've never... Like, we did green beans too, but those we actually had gotten on sale and at a store. They were like 50 cents a pound, and so we bought a bunch of those and canned those up. But so yeah, we're gonna try to do that, I think, this year.
Yeah, and I love watching Heather can stuff because what that is future food. We use that term a lot in the Goin Batty world. Hey, Lone Star, how are you? Hey, little... I'm going to say that wrong. Little Medes 69.
Yes.
Hi. Hi.
Sorry, we didn't pronounce
we
your
butchered
name right.
your name. And you can feel free to correct us and it won't hurt our feelings. But one of the cool parts about Heather canning is that's future food for us. So our perspective on getting homesteading done is future food. What is future food? It's buying plants at the grocery store or at the
nursery.
At the nursery.
The greenhouse.
And getting those into the ground.
So I don't have a lot more that I need to buy now because
there's a lot planted.
I had a sweet friend give me a lot of her plants, so those are going to be going into the ground soon. So
Jam at the Nut House, we do not dehydrate yet.
Yeah, I've never tried that.
That's the fun part about where we are as a homesteading family. There's some things we haven't tried yet, and we don't know how to do.
We're so new at it that we're starting with what are some of the basics that we need to know? But
yeah,
dehydrating sounds interesting.
Yeah, especially dehydrating meat.
Like making beef jerky. Oh, our sons would go crazy for that. Our daughter would be like,
yeah. So anyway, we don't dehydrate yet, but we've got some good we've got some good intention to do such a thing. Anyway, canning future food. Right now we've done things like sauerkraut and green beans, salsa. That's awesome. Yeah. And I could imagine us getting to the point where Heather's canning peaches and apples and all kinds of other things.
Yeah. I've made jam too. That's the other thing I've done. The house that we lived in, Maryland, had, what are you doing? Had blackberries and raspberries that grew wild there, and I probably canned 50 half-pint jars of jam, and that actually was my very first experience canning. And my mom had come to visit us, and she was like, well, it's been a while since I've done this, so I think I know how to do it. So we called my grandmother, who, did it the entire time I was growing up. She always, every summer, like when everything came in, we would be over at her house. We would be doing tomatoes and corn and beans and just, like I said, sauerkraut and beets and pickles and just all of that kind of stuff. So
hi Pamela, how are you? I will say this: if you're not considering buying Thrive Life Foods, you need to consider buying Thrive Life Foods. Heather and I are in a unique position right now where we don't have a lot of storage for prep steading, as it were. But that stuff, as we've been a part of videos, as we've experienced the food from Thrive Life, phenomenal. Yeah. So I highly encourage you, go to Big Family Homestead, click on a link that says Thrive Life, buy directly from them, and they will take care and make sure you get what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do.
All right, next question.
Next thing, okay, how to compost. We have started compost piles in 2 of the 50 states.
Yeah.
And we're looking to get the rest of the 48 by the end of the summer.
No, I don't
No.
want to leave the state.
You know what's funny is I think composting happens in a lot of different places around the homestead. We had an area in our barn where the chickens stayed, and we tore that down to make room for the rabbits, and we are doing something different with our chickens now. And underneath that, underneath all of that chicken poo and what's it called? Wood chips. There's some great soil coming through, and it's really becoming compost in itself right there. But we have a compost pile. We have a worm farm, which I don't think I 100% know how to use the squeezins from worms. Worm squeezins.
Oh, that's so gross.
Love me some worm squeezins. Yeah, so Pamela says, I just started dehydrating, but saw Brad's video, and I purchased a few things that I was interested in. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. And I could definitely see us doing that kind of stuff, especially with herbs and spices and that kind of thing. We dehydrate them to have them ready for the winter time.
Well, I actually, we had a basil plant, and I just jerked the whole thing out of the ground, turned it upside down, and put a bungee cord around it and hung it upside down. And when I needed basil, I just pulled them off and I put them in my my blender.
Awesome.
And blended them up. And so
that's awesome.
So that, that's how I dried those. So.
Yeah. And you've done basil?
That was basil.
Rosemary?
Yeah. No, I didn't do rosemary.
What were the ones that you did? Because we even had mint there for a while.
It was just the basil that we did, but the mint we had growing out there, and
when you plant mint, be careful because that stuff goes everywhere. It's awesome to have.
You better love mint, because if you plant it in the ground and not like in a pot, you will have it everywhere.
It'll be everywhere. So anyway, composting. We have a compost pile. We do not have like the rotating drum composting, which I think would probably be better.
I just think we have so much of it because we had the chicken manure and everything, and that has to sit for a while. Like it has to sit for a good 6 months before you can use it. And then we just put like our kitchen scraps and stuff like that, stuff that the chickens couldn't eat. We would put that on there. And it has to sit. We probably need to turn it. It probably needs to be turned sometime soon. But So we do compost.
And one of the things that we're learning is that it's got to sit for a while. You can't just use it readily. You've got to kind of make sure that it's being turned on a regular basis, and we do have to do that. It takes a pitchfork.
Yeah.
And
I think we need a bigger pitchfork to do it. We
that.
actually need the kind that you clean out barn stalls with. Something, the one that's a little wider, because right now we have the one that's kind of got the skinnier forks on it, and it's only about this wide, and we just need something a little wider to do that. So
yeah,
tripped a real king.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Maybe we can get 3 or 4 of them for the kids. They can each have their own pitchfork.
It's funny, on a Tuesday night, it's like sunshiny and beautiful outside, and I think that the primary season for composting is winter because the snow's sitting on top of it and it's all kind of cooking in there. But really, if you've got good worms and you're stirring it, I was watching the old Alabama gardener.
Yeah.
And this guy's picking through his compost on a regular basis. And where I get kind of weird about touching my own trash, even other people's trash, he's like all in. He's got both of his hands. It's just arm deep on all of that. It's just stirring and cultivating it to find the things that he really wants to use as compost. So anyway.
Yeah. So
that's that. How to bake bread.
I know how to bake bread.
Yeah.
I knew how to bake bread before this, but I used the artisan bread recipe from the Big Family Homestead.
Yeah.
And now my children won't eat anything else.
We live on that bread.
Yeah.
And it's not just her children, it's her husband.
Yeah,
too.
that's our everyday bread. My oldest son told me that he never knew toast could taste so good. Yeah. And when every once in a while, if we have to buy a loaf of bread, like I got sick one time and you bought a loaf of bread. Like, the kids thought they were being punished. They were like, why? Don't you love us anymore? Why is this here? So.
Yeah, the old Alabama gardener is awesome.
He is, yeah.
He's the man. Okay, so make homemade remedies for naturally treating ailments.
Okay.
Ailments, sorry.
Ailments. I am not good at that yet. I have been watching Homestead Mama because she is fantastic at that. I have gotten advice from Krista. Now, Kevin laughs at me because there is one remedy that we have used that he was like, this is just your Harry Potter magic. And it's when our kids have a really bad cough, I will take Vicks Vapor Rub and I will rub it on their feet, like just slather their feet with it and then put really thick socks on their feet. And especially at night, it helps them like not cough as much so that they can sleep. And I don't know why it works, but it does work. It does too work.
I was agreeing with you, yes.
Because I've actually done it to him too.
Yes.
So.
That's not. That wasn't like I didn't believe that at first. That's off the cuff. I mean, that's off the charts.
I had another lady who is a mother of how many?
12.
No, she's not.
She's got 25 kids at least.
I think it's 9. I think Ruth has
34,
9 kids.
Something like that.
But she no, not 34. Good Lord. She told me about it, and I'm like, and she's like, I swear it works with all 9 of my kids, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm like, if she says so, then I'll do it. So, yeah. But yeah. So.
I just there's certain things that I think are kind of cool, and learning some of those natural remedies that God kind of put in front of us. Peppermint oil for a headache on your temples.
That was one. And Krista was telling me, like, when they have a cough, if you take hot water and you put some eucalyptus oil in, like, and you put a towel over their face and steam their face, that helps break up the congestion in their chest.
Yep.
So, and that did work too. That worked really well with Jack. Katie, can you hand me my purse over there? I need my lip.
Yeah.
My lips real
also, the what's the thing where they put their head over it? Eucalyptus stuff.
I just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was so busy thinking about what eucalyptus was that I missed what my wife was saying completely. Oh man, I'm in trouble. I have a feeling I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Make homemade laundry detergent.
We have not done that, but we use the soap berries, and we had to make ourselves bigger little packages that you put them in. Mm-hmm. Like we made them out of flannel. They're about this big, and they're like got white snowflakes on it because nothing we own has white snowflakes because we kept losing them in the wash machine.
That's right.
Yeah, but we used the soap berries.
Yep. I think we lost everybody. Look at our. I think everybody left.
Why?
I don't know. I think we've got a bad stream. Something's going on with our streaming tonight. It's not acting right. We are not receiving video. At a fast enough rate, viewers may experience buffering. So,
I'm not seeing any buffering.
well, we're losing a lot of people. So
We've got 12 people watching.
do we?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's going on because there's that message right there.
Okay.
The
Well.
stream status is bad.
Okay.
If
well,
you guys can see us, feel free to comment so we know
please
we're not.
tell us so that we're not, or if we're buffering, please tell us.
We want to fix that.
Yeah.
I see participants right now. It looks like we have 3 here, but I don't know if that's true or not.
We have 13 watching.
13.
Okay.
Well, we'll keep going, and,
Right.
and I apologize for that. I don't know why it's gone wrong. It's all gone horribly wrong. I don't know I don't know how to fix it, so we're gonna press through.
We'll
And
just keep it. Pamela says it works.
okay.
We have Whitney Sue. She says hello. She's just joining us.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes. So it is working. I'm here.
I'm cleaning. Just can't comment often. Hey, we are we're good to listen to while you're doing a lot of different things.
Okay. So what's next?
Okay, sorry. This was on the list and it kind of made me mad. This person on this blog put know how to make Play-Doh.
I know how to make Play-Doh.
Yeah, but that's not a homesteading thing, is it?
Well, I mean, okay. So if you're like truly
off grid
and you need something to entertain your children, so because I had 4 kids in 5 years, and that's a whole lot of crazy happening all at one time, and you need
True.
something for them to do.
True.
Yes, making Play-Doh
True.
is probably a skill that somebody in your house needs to have.
It's not something I would consider homestead. But yes, hey, take a look at that. We're gonna come back to this. This is a soap berry.
Yeah. Pamela was asking. She's read about soap berries and wondered how well they work. They work for.
We
they
use
work
them on
for our
everything.
clothes. And sometimes, like when the boys are especially filthy and they've gotten their clothes really dirty, sometimes we have to use a laundry booster. Like you can use borax or like Arm & Hammer washing soda. But for the most part, like it gets the smell out and everything. Like I don't particularly care for scented laundry detergent. My dad worked for a company that was subcontracted by Procter & Gamble, and they packaged Tide and Downy and all of this stuff, and so I can't really handle the smell of that kind of stuff anymore because it's like, woo, it's too perfumey.
Well, and Katie's allergic to Tide.
Yeah,
so
Katie
we
breaks
can't
out
use
in
it.
a huge rash when we use Tide, and then we use wool dryer balls in the dryer to take the static out.
That was genius. And when I saw Heather doing the soap berries, I thought, this is taking us.
I thought I was crazy.
I did.
She
I didn't think
thinks
she
a
was.
lot of things I do is crazy until they actually work, and then I'm not so crazy anymore.
This has been a journey for me to go from the old mindset, which is buy everything at the grocery store, to the new mindset, which is soap berries and other things. Dryer balls. And it's just a process. I don't think she's crazy. Matter of fact, I celebrate it. What I was going to say was it's one of the most ingenious things I think I've seen her learn is the fact that you get these dryer balls, you wrap up all this
It was wool yarn. I just
wool
got
yarn.
wool yarn. They had it on sale, and I bought 3 skeins of it.
What else do you do to it?
I have put some like essential oils on. Like I don't particularly care for the smell. Like I like the smell of lemon, but a lemon essential oil just reminds me of Pledge.
Yeah.
And so I actually will use that on the dryer ball, so it gives our laundry when it's tossed around a little bit of a fresher scent, but not like so overpowering. So
the lemon.
Yeah.
Not
the
Pledge.
lemon essential oil is what I use on there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And so I'm on a journey that's learned watching Heather do all of these amazing things, and it's just so encouraging. Whitney says she made dryer balls yesterday. That is so cool.
Yeah, I mean they're just. I was just surprised at how easy they are to make and how effective they are. Like we found like with the amount of laundry that we do, 3 is almost not enough to keep the static down because I mean, like I said, we're a family of 6, and there's a lot of laundry that goes to our house, and we have, a high capacity wash machine and a dryer, and we probably need more, like 4, maybe even 5 in ours. So, but What was that?
Make a video on dryer balls, please.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can
We'll
do that. They're not like super hard to make.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, awesome. I can do that.
Any trick for keeping track of how many washes for your soap nut bag?
When they get when they start to disintegrate, that's when you throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
So we can usually get about, I don't know, 5 to 7 washes.
Yep.
Out of one bag, and we usually have 3. Like you have 1 in the wash, and you have 2 sitting on the like in a little container on the dryer where we keep those in any of the dryer balls that fall out. But we keep them there because sometimes you can't find, like no matter how hard you look, you can't find the soap nuts.
Right.
And they'll go through the dryer and they'll be fine. And so you just have another bag there ready just in case you throw it in. Or if you're like me, you go, did I put those in there? So 2 bags is not bad either.
Move closer to me so they can see you better.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Okay, I'm just a little squished.
Pretend you like me.
I do like you.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
yeah.
she does.
So that's
all right.
Yeah.
All right. One of the things that we haven't done a whole lot of is learn how to make cheese from scratch, but she knows how to do it and she does it very well. I don't think we've gotten into like the whole cheddar realm and different flavors.
I know how to make farmer cheese. I guess that's what you call it. But it's and the reason that I learned how to make it is when we started homeschooling our kids last year. Is it grinding?
I don't know what that is.
Weed eating. Okay, somebody's weed eating. We had the windows open, so.
Behind you, it's Gina. It's the
dog.
dog.
I don't know.
Look
No, there's out there. There's a lot of noises. I'm sorry.
There's
I'm
a lot
having a hard time. What were we talking about?
We were talking about cheese.
Okay.
Gina, stop.
My son Miles was reading The Little House on the Prairie, and I thought, God, he's not gonna like this book because it's all about little girls and everything. Well, he actually really liked the character of Paul in this book, and but one of the things is we're reading it, and he's Mom's making cheese, and he was like, well, Mom, can we make cheese? And I said, well, to make this book as interesting as I possibly can for this boy, then yes, we will learn how to make cheese. And it was really simple. I mean, you took your milk, and if I remember correctly, you heated it, and then you put some sort of acid in it, whether lemon juice or vinegar. Kevin doesn't care for it with lemon juice. He likes it a little better when you make it with vinegar. And then you let it curdle, and then you hang it, and you let all of the whey come out of it. And then you just kind of let it hang for a while. I forget. I mean, I'll have to look back and think about what I did. But you can use it and make kind of like a cream cheese. But the way my kids like it is I would cut up chives and mix it in with it. And then I would press it so that it would get kind of firm. And then I would slice it, and then you fry it. And it holds its shape. It doesn't like melt down like cheddar does or anything like that. It doesn't get greasy. It'll hold its shape almost like feta. And I mean, Katie, she could eat a whole thing of that cheese fried. Like she loved it, and it was good. It was really good. So yeah.
So cheese, there you go.
Yeah.
Lone Star Living's in the house. Daniel's in the house. Hi guys, how are you all doing? So anyway, back to the list. Grow plants in your climate. That's one thing that I think Heather's really good at is she knows what'll grow in this area. She knows like you can't grow oranges in Ohio, and I keep making her do that.
Or bananas. My daughter keeps wanting me to grow bananas, pink bananas, and I'm like, they don't grow here. But I mean, there's no harm in trying things. Because I remember as a kid, my grandfather would always, he was an amazing gardener. He really was. And he would always try one new thing. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. He would grow these things called creases. And they're like a green, they're almost like if I remember correctly, there's kind of a cross between like a lettuce and maybe like a spinach or some other kind of like green. But he would grow those, and he would also grow, like I remember him trying kohlrabi one time, and I love that stuff, and it worked great. He did peanuts, horrible. Peanuts don't grow well here. Ohio's not the place to grow peanuts. Our entire peanut crop was like about 6 of them in your hand. So, but he tried, and but he also learned how to graft trees, and he learned how to because he has at my grandmother's house, there's a tree that's there that he planted, and the base of it is an apple tree, and the branches of it are a pear tree, and so he grafted that tree, or it's something like that. I may have that wrong, but Okay. But
I get it.
But he knew what grew here, but he always tried to grow something different. Like my grandfather, in his yard, in my grandmother's yard, there are 2 pecan trees. And it's the only pecan trees that I know of that.
And how many pecan trees do you have to plant?
You have to have 2. Not
2.
One.
I didn't know that.
So,
I didn't know that.
But hold on. He got these pecans down in Georgia when he went to visit his my uncle was in the military and he was on a base down there, and he picked up these pecans and he brought them home and he sprouted them and he planted these 2 trees. Yeah. So there's pecan trees here in Ohio, which you don't see that very. I mean, you see hickory nuts and you see black walnuts and stuff like that, but you don't see pecans very often here. Yeah. So yeah.
Lil says that she lives in California and can't grow some things.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Fried cheese. Yeah. Yes, fried cheese is very good.
Whitney says the cheese sounds amazing. Pamela would like to see a video on the cheese.
Okay.
And so we love hearing those suggestions. It gives us ideas on videos to make.
Did you write that down?
I did. I wrote it down here in my handy dandy notebook.
Yes.
So, those are
little Blue's Clues.
those are some good things for us to know. So anyway, knowing the plants to grow in your climate goes along with the tools of the trade. And Heather, in earlier videos, showed you some of the tools that we use. That little slider that shows people when you can plant and when you can't plant.
Well, and also knowing what zone you live in too will help you with that. Like we live in zone, I think 6A where we are, so that will help you to know what grows well where you live. So
Lone Star says my grandfather had tons of pecan trees. When I get land, those are the first things I plant. Yeah. First, in his honor, and secondly, because they're about 5 years to produce. Yeah, that's true. It does take a long time.
You know what's interesting is I know Lone Star's in Texas, and I have family in Texas, and they have pecan trees all over their yard. And my mom was flabbergasted because my cousin would go out and buy pecans because she didn't want to shell the ones that were growing in her yard, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, what? So my mom would go out and she would pick up the pecans and everything. So, but yeah. So what's the next question? Or do we need to move
sorry, no, I was looking at something. JM at the Nut House says she's in inland and South California or South.
Yeah. California.
Yeah, and have a hard time. I'm so impressed that we have people from California watching our show.
We can grow asparagus really well here.
Yeah, and we're going to try.
Yeah, I've got 2 plants, and I believe asparagus, it's either 2 or 3 years before you can pick it. Yeah. So,
we'll get started
and I'm going to be buying, that's going to be more of my future food I'll be going to the grocery store on Thursday. So whatever money I have left from grocery shopping, that goes to future food. And one of it is I'm going to be buying more asparagus plants because all but 2 people in our family like asparagus.
Absolutely.
And so, so we're going to be growing that.
Okay, so let's see.
Next question.
How to save seeds for future harvest?
That I don't know how to do. But I believe I know somebody who does know how to do that.
From year to year, yes, we do. We know.
I believe Krista from Big Family Homestead knows how to do it. My grandfather did know how to do that. But he's been gone for 15 years now. So, and that's that's one of those things. Is like I wish now, if looking back on things, like I would have listened more. Like I was there with him while he did it. But when you're a kid, you're just kind of like la 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 la, planting seeds, playing in the dirt, and and I didn't. I wish I would have. But again, you're a child too. But now I'm looking back on it, going, man. He was wicked smart. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, anyway, I would say that's part of our resources that we're going to get to in just a little bit. So you'll want to hang on. Well, this is practical. This is way practical. But learn basic first aid and CPR, especially when you're around me, because who knows when I'm going to drop. Just kidding.
No, no, he did have one time an incident where he choked, and I had to do the Heimlich on him, and it scared me to death.
It scared all of us to death.
So
I have
it was amazing that I haven't. I was certified in CPR at one point a long time ago. I had to be because I worked in a daycare center, and you had to be certified for that. But that was for. You have to take the whole course, but it was basically for children. But remembering that, and that again, that was probably 15, 20 years ago when I took that. But probably be updated on it was probably a good thing. So
I have a condition that makes my esophagus swell, and so I have to take medicine to keep it from swelling. And it works great, and when I'm on the medicine, there's usually no problem. I take it every other day. It's no big deal. But we had to discover that the hard way. And so we went through a couple of those moments where I'm like, I'm not so sure that's going down. But yes, I'm doing well now.
I'm glad he's well now too.
I think there's a point where the first aid kit has to be updated, has to be ready. Mm-hmm. Our kids are constantly cutting themselves, banging themselves, hurting themselves. Yes. Max was on crutches for the last week or so, and he's still kind of being careful with his knee.
Yeah, we are forever not having enough Band-Aids in our house because my boys like to take Band-Aids and draw mustaches on them. See what they look like with mustaches.
It's crazy.
So I'm like, where are all the Band-Aids? So
I used one as a mustache.
Yeah. So
then you're just gonna have to bleed. Just kidding.
Okay. So do we need to move on to something else?
We do. Let's talk about favorite things.
Okay.
All right. We talked about the list. We'll come back to the list and have more conversation around that. But our favorite things. What is your? Do you want to go first? Or you want me to?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. So my favorite things relate to canning. And so I have all of these things. I have a really nice jar. Wait, I'm not. Okay, jar grabber, because you don't want to ever pull anything out that's really hot. And I can remember as a kid, my grandmother didn't have one of these. These are the things that it's the magnet that gets the lid. And I don't remember. I remember her taking tongs and trying to pull the lid out. But this guy's really strong because it will pick 3 or 4 lids up at a time, and you're trying to pull it off, but you'll get your lids. And then there's I have this little collapsible strainer, which is really nice. This all came in a set. I don't ever win anything, ever. And I had sent a recipe in to the Resistance chicks, and their channel is Mass Faith 3, but they had send us a recipe, and we had this canning kit that they were going to give away, and I actually won, and it was for my what was it, honey salted caramel, my caramel recipe that I made.
It's the bomb.
Little caramels. I only make them at Christmas time, but and then there's these little flexible cups, which are really great, when you're canning and you're having to measure your pickling spices or your salt or whatever. These are, and I like that they're squishy because you can funnel them into things. It also came with one of the funnels, and the one thing that I can't find is a friend of theirs. They call him the Kansas Cowboy. His name's Matt. Made one of those things where you put it on the rim of the jar to see if you have enough headspace for it, and it was wood, and it actually was, I didn't ever want to use it because it was so pretty. But those, when it comes to canning, I really like that these are easy to clean, they're flexible. I think having a good set of that's a strong magnet. Having something like this and a good jar lifter keeps you from burning yourself. And but those are my favorite things. So
awesome. I've got some simple favorite things. I've been wrestling a lot with our electrical fence lately, and these have become invaluable. We've done a lot of I've done a lot of wiring from the box to the electric fence, the little transistor box that pulses electricity through the electric fence for our chickens. And we have got it to the point where it's not quite working. And so I've been using these a lot, and
Oh, she's a spring-loaded jar grabber.
Wow.
I have jar grabber envy now.
I would too.
Though mine is really nice. So.
My hands don't always work well. Well, ours don't either.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So anyway, we've been working a lot with wires, just getting the. Would love to see water bath canning videos.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, that is on the plan.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're when you start canning, water bath is the easiest. I mean, you have to do things that have high acid levels in them, like tomatoes or like your jellies and jams and stuff like that. But water bath canning is the easiest one to do with. When I first did a pressure canning thing scared me to death because my grandmother wouldn't let me in the kitchen when I was a kid because she had two big pressure canners, and we would be doing beans and all sorts of stuff in it, and there was always the fear like the lid would blow off or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, she always kept her equipment in good condition. But this is back in the 80s, early 80s, so
Sure.
she was just very particular about that. So
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So I'm sorry, we interrupted your.
No, that's okay. Interrupt away. So anyway,
Your wire strippers?
we've got to become a little bit more efficient in what we're doing with our chicken fence, our electric fence on our chickens, and so that's gonna have to come around. But this is one of my favorite things. That is a duck call straight from the Robertsons. This was a Christmas present for my kids a few years ago. And it is one of my favorite things. It is a good tool to
Call the kids in the house.
call the kids into the house
Yes.
away from all of
He
the.
doesn't duck hunt.
I wish I did. I wish I did dunk.
But it is loud enough that when we want the kids in the house, he can go out to the back door and. Yeah.
So
bad. So.
It's a great little toy for me, but it's a natural tool. And it reminded me that when I first started opening my mind to homesteading, I was watching Duck Dynasty, and they at the time were putting out videos that were very much down home. This is how you cook squirrel. This is how you.
Especially Phil and Miss K.
Oh, Phil and Miss K.
They are very
yeah.
down to earth people. Where some of the
Absolutely.
some of the other guys are kind of.
They're a
They
little
live in
more
the big
high-tech.
houses and everything
Yeah.
like that. Where Miss Kay and Phil, they
Yeah.
live in the same house
Same
that
house
they've
they've
always
always
lived
lived
in.
in.
So yeah.
And so that kind of just reminded me of when we kind of started. The other thing is multi-tools. This multi-tool right here is in my pocket a lot, and I use it a lot. It's something that so I don't have to carry around a knife too. It kind of does everything. It has all the little knives on the side and the can opener, and I know it's goofy, but I use this more than I expect. It's got a little file there and
So you can break
a
out of
knife.
prison.
And that way I can do stuff around the homestead without having to carry around a bunch of stuff. I do find myself in situations where I'm out at the chicken Conestoga wagon and it is falling apart and I need a tool, and this thing has helped out a lot. So
Pamela said that she taught herself to water bath can by making apple butter.
Oh,
My
that's
daughter
cool.
loves apple butter, and I think that's great, teaching yourself how to do things,
Yeah.
because sometimes you don't have the people around you to teach you how to do that, and it's like, okay, either I'm going to do this or I'm not.
Sure.
And I have enough gumption to learn it myself. So way to go, Pamela.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that one of the things that is real important is to utilize the resources at your hand.
sorry.
Come on
like
over.
I'm like really far away.
Well, I think
so.
the camera's moving too,
Oh,
so that
okay.
doesn't help. But one of the things that I've realized is that I'm not a very good mechanic, and I need to become one. I'm not a very good carpenter, but I need to improve my skills. Same thing in the kitchen, and one of the things that I really like to do, but I'm not really good at, is carpentry. And so one of the next things that I'm going to work on is how to cut straighter, how to build a better chicken Conestoga wagon. The one that we built is already having issues. It's doing its job,
Yeah.
and I'm
we
excited.
have the wrong kind of wheels on it. Is what it
I think
is.
we have the wrong kind of wheels
So we
on
just
it.
have to put new. Lone Star wants to know if you found a decent work shoe yet.
I have, but I haven't bought them yet.
They expensive.
The wide work shoes that I would have are like $125 to $100 depending on what kind I get.
Yeah.
And so we found them through a lot of people and a lot of suggestions. A triple E is extra wide, and that's what my foot requires. And so I'm kind of holding off until saving up for them. It'll be on the next thing. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm working on that, Jonathan. It's an annoyance in the morning because I'll go out, I'll work on the chicken stuff before I go to work with my morning chores, and I'll come back with wet feet, and it just makes
He goes through 2 pairs of socks a day because
it just annoys me.
So we're constantly
It's such a
washing
pain in the
socks.
butt. So I need to find it. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking for them.
Yeah.
The upcycling project that we're going to be working on again is another chicken tractor. We are going to build an outdoor rabbit run. So that the rabbits can enjoy grass. We found out today,
we found
in a very unsuspecting way,
yes,
that our
Diana is not a girl.
Diana is a Dave.
Our little Katie named
Rusty
it,
Crusty Britches.
Katie named him Rusty Britches. So
it's they're pretty young still,
Yeah.
and I couldn't tell, but I looked, and it was just a whole thing.
yeah. So we have 2 bucks now and 1 doe.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of an off balance.
Yeah, but
So-
we do. One of the things that I feel pretty strongly about is having our animals in their natural environment, and that means chickens in green grass. That means rabbits in green grass, and my hope is to build some sort of rabbit run so that they can enjoy that, and then we can put them away at night so that they're safe. That's one of the upcycling projects that's going on.
Yeah.
Pumpkin butter, watermelon rind pickle jelly. Pickles. Yes, I got comfortable with one. I would challenge myself with something else.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice.
All right.
Pumpkin butter's awesome. It's like eating the inside of a pumpkin pie without the pesky crust.
Yeah. So we put the 2 female rabbits in our dog cage today, and that's how we found out that one wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was quite the experience.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're learning, and we'll continue to grow. So anyway, that's we need to make some room for more chickens. Our chicken update this week is, we sold some, and it blew my mind. We were actually are considering making a little business on the side of raising chickens and I wasn't expecting to do that. We had 4 reds that were just brutal to the rest of our flock.
They were the Golden Comets. They're the production reds.
And
they were mean. And I know that there are a lot of people like, we've never had problems with ours. And I don't know what it is about us that the chickens hate so much. Yeah. But the production, like Golden Comets, and they are just... We've not had good experiences with them. They're just kind of mean.
Yeah.
And so we prefer the more we have a barred rock that is just the sweetest thing. And we actually have some Rhode Island Reds that are really docile. And we've had people tell us that Rhode Island Reds can be very domineering, and we haven't had that issue. I think it just depends. It just depends.
We haven't.
So that has been.
Yeah, so we sold those 4 production reds and we need to make room for some of our other chickens, and you've seen some of those in our videos.
Monkey butter. What is monkey butter?
Yes, talk to us about
what
monkey
is
butter.
Monkey butter? Because I don't want to have to skin a monkey.
It's a lot more interesting than hearing me talk about chickens. I like monkey butter. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good. It's butternut squash.
Butternut squash. Huh. Okay.
Wow. All right. Cool. Do you, Lone Star says, the canned pumpkin is really squash. I think I saw that on one of the American.
Yeah, that
videos.
is true. It's not an actual like the pumpkins that you get at the pumpkin patch. It is a type of squash. Yeah.
So we also have an update on some more of our chickens. we lost 2 of our baby chicks this week, and we know that this is a part of raising chickens, and it doesn't make it any easier or fun, but we lost one of our brand new ones that was a Americana, a Easter egger. We lost Squeakums,
Our little
which was our
scissor
scissor beak.
And that was sad because I was really I'm horrible because I'm constantly rooting for the underdog, and I know that the likelihood of her surviving was less than the other ones, and she was just smaller, and we were trying to make sure she had enough food, enough water, and we're not sure what happened. We just went in and she was gone, and now it just came and go, Kevin, she's gone. So I don't deal well with that kind of thing, and it's funny because I do understand, like, every animal has its place, and we're never to be cruel to them or anything like that, but it is an animal, but I don't want to see anything suffer. I don't want to see anything be mistreated, and I know that she wasn't. I mean, we treated her the best that we could and tried to help her and everything like that, and it just wasn't meant to be, and that's just one of those things. It's just hard, and I think I have to toughen up a little bit because the more we get into this, and we have butchered our own chickens before, but I can't be the one to do the deed. Yeah. I can pluck it. I can all that stuff. But when it comes to ending its life, I can't be. I cry every time I do.
Yeah, and so we don't take it very lightly. We take it pretty seriously when
banana, coconut, and pineapple is monkey butter. I'm sorry.
Pureed with sugar.
Yeah, it's really good on it. Krista's Amish white bread. I bet it is.
The Nut House. Yeah, it sounds good.
Ooh, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound good. We might need you to make that video so we can eat that.
Yeah.
That sounds good. But yeah, I mean, part of raising chickens is you're going to lose them. And when we first got here, we had kind of had some experiences in Maryland that had sent a lot of our chickens to the grave or up into chicken heaven.
We had an eagle. A bald eagle that would swoop down and steal our chickens right out of the run. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it because it's a protected animal.
Yeah, you can't shoot at it. You can't do anything. But we, when we got here, we had our coop set up to the point where we thought it was good, but it was not. And almost our entire flock got wiped out.
Yeah, it got that was hard.
There was probably 2 left from the original that we brought.
We have 1 left now from the.
We do?
2. We have 2.
We have 2?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just part of the stuff. I think that keeping chickens is one of the most easy, least complicated things that you can do to get started in homesteading.
Everything loves to eat them.
Everything
does.
So. Everything does. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Joel Salatin stuff lately. Joel Salatin has some great information. He's very knowledgeable. Sometimes he's too knowledgeable. Like when he starts crunching numbers, he can do it verbally, and when you start mathing at me, I lose it. I can't keep up with him. And Joel Salatin has this ability to just over and over and over again share with you the numbers behind keeping chickens and how to do it in a economic way. And we're growing to the point where I always joke about us having a chicken empire one day. That's not really joking. I really do want us to have under 500 chickens.
He's not going to be the cat lady. He's going to be the chicken guy.
Yeah.
They'll eat you too if you die in the chicken coop. So.
If you don't have a hard time processing, there may be something wrong with a person. I grew up doing it and still not my favorite, but it is necessary. Yeah. Totally agree with that.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only person, because you think back to my grandpa had to help. He lived on a farm and they butchered their animals, but when he was here, my mom said, I don't ever remember him doing that, and he would go visit his brother who was a pig farmer, and they would butcher hogs and stuff like that. And my grandmother told my mom, and this is just recently, she's like, your grandfather just never, like, that was a process that he just did not enjoy, which I think is good. Like, you're right. If you enjoy that process, there's something wrong with you. So,
yeah.
But
I think you do have to disconnect yourself a little bit from your emotions to be able to do it.
yeah.
Because it is food on the table, and there's a mental mindset that you almost have to retrain your brain to go, wait, chickens don't grow in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And we don't. They don't naturally are raised
And
in
if
nugget
we want
form.
what's best for our family,
Yeah.
then we're going to have to do it ourselves because we know where
Yeah.
everything came from. So I think
Yeah.
we need to move on to our resources.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, we are coming close to the end,
Yeah.
aren't we? Wow. Our garden update. You saw our tilling.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to resources, but we're gonna come back.
I don't really have anything else to update for our garden yet.
We did talk about this though, and we have a little bit of extra time here.
Yeah.
We like the lasagna layering that we do better than tilling every year.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the lasagna layering is this.
We took cardboard to keep the weeds down,
Mhm.
and we put that. Well, first when our garden was done.
Yep.
Well, how did we do it?
We pulled everything.
We pulled everything,
Mhm.
and then we put some compost down, and then we put some cardboard down to keep the weeds out, and then we put like the leaves and the straw on top of it, like when we rake leaves and everything, and the straw on top of that, and so that way everything, like, we didn't disturb the dirt. And when I was planting my plants this year, I would dig down into that dirt, and I mean, just one of those little gardening shovels, I'd have like 20 worms in
Yeah.
there, and to me that's a sign of, well, something's going right there. But I'm not, like, I don't think I know enough about like the back to Eden method for me to be good at it. I do know that you can't till your wood chips, because the old Alabama gardener told me this. Don't till your wood chips into your dirt.
Right.
It will zap all the nitrogen out of your dirt,
Soil.
and then your plants will die.
Right.
You have to move the wood chips away, plant into the dirt, and then scoop the wood chips over top of it. And I guess over time, they will compost down, but it takes a lot longer than I think maybe this other method does, because straw and all that stuff will compost down quicker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
yeah.
we'll see if it bears any fruit or
Yeah.
veggies,
We'll
as
see.
the case may be. Yeah. So anyway, back to resources. Have some resources?
I do. So my biggest resource right now is, this picture was taken 14 years ago, and I don't know if you
Hold
can
it
see
in front
it.
of me.
Yeah, this here is my grandmother.
That gray-haired
Yeah,
beauty.
and she is the sweetest thing ever. I love her to death.
I'll get it a little closer
That's
to
me when we got married, when Kevin and I got married. But she's my biggest resource sometimes. Grandma, when do you plant this? Well, you plant it then. Grandma, tell me how you made your sauerkraut, because the thing is like, her recipe is all up here in her head. I don't know. I think I have a written version of it, but she just wrote it down last year for me. And show me how to do these things. And she's 87,
Yep.
going to be 88
Yep.
here in a little bit.
Yep.
And so I'm learning from her all of these things that, like, and she's amazing, because she just, like I said, she has all of this knowledge stored in her head. I mean, she is she's not, I don't want to sound mean, but like, she's one of those older people that, yes, her body has slowed down, but her mind has not.
It's
and
right on
she
target.
is just as sharp as a tack. And so when it comes to learning about this stuff, and again, like, my grandfather was the gardener. She would help, but not so much, but she remembers a lot of these things that he would say and he would do, and stuff like that. And and so she is a huge resource for me, and I'm
And for
trying
Kate.
to, and Katie too, because she's teaching my daughter how to sew. She's taught my daughter how to quilt. That'll be another one of my favorite things soon, is that she has 11 grandchildren. She has made all of us quilts, and then all of her great grandchildren quilts. So you're looking at between her children, her grandchildren, her great grandchildren, you're probably looking at over about 50 quilts that she's made. So it's been really great to be able to just kind of glean that knowledge from her, because I understand that we are here for a set amount of time. God has our days numbered and planned out for us, and I know it sounds sad, like, she's not going to be here forever. And I think that part of what's going on in this world now is that we have lost that connection with these people with so much knowledge. I mean, you put them away in retirement communities and nursing homes, and we don't go visit them, and and they have so much to offer and so much to give. And so, if you can find somebody, I mean, maybe your grandparents didn't come from farm people like mine did, but if you find that person that maybe at your church or that you work with or something who's got the knowledge about gardening and taking care of animals and stuff like that, like, pick their brain, have them become a part of your life so that you can pass on knowledge that was passed on to you. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I keep going back to YouTube as resources, and there are some great YouTube channels out there. Did we get all of your resources, dear?
Yeah.
Okay. Lone Star Living. My grandfather had a small piece of land that he grew food and raised animals and had fruit and pecan trees. I wish he was around still now. I lost him before I realized how much knowledge he had. That's true for so many people, including me. I mean, my grandmother and my grandfather actually made it their goal to live in a suburb because they were raised on a farm and they were done doing all of the farming. But the mentality that they brought with them to the suburbs was a homesteading or farmer's mentality of making everything stretch and growing your own vegetables, and it was all in the modern realm, and they kind of moved from that homestead farming life, being raised that way, into a more modern experience. But I would say this: the YouTube channels that are watching us right now, or that are connected to Big Family Homestead, these are channels that are incredible resources for us as we're growing. And I say us, not just Heather and I, but us as a community. We can't do homesteading without community. Some people would say you can't do homesteading without land. I disagree with that. I think that if you have...
I have to say something. I watched Jonathan at Lone Star, his video on making coffee, and where he was talking about, like, if you don't have a coffee grinder or something like that, you can put it in a sock and you can beat it, and you can... And I'm sitting there, I'm like there are days, like, coffee makes me like a semi-functioning human being in the morning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if the sock was dirty. Like, I would drink it out of a dirty sock. So, yeah.
I love the stories that you guys are telling on the feed right now about your grandparents' experience and the things that you're learning from each of them. They got to reminisce, and you got to learn, and that's
a win-win.
That's awesome. And I encourage you guys to continue to rub shoulders with them and learn from them and bring them into your homesteading that you're doing, wherever it is.
And you get to hear funny stories too.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I can remember my grandfather telling me the story of, he was probably about the age of Miles, maybe about 9, and they lived in Tennessee. His family, they were not wealthy, so they had a wood stove that they kept the house warm with, and his sister, who was like 15 years older than him, 10, 15 years older than him, had washed the dishes and had put them by the wood stove to dry. And he had come in with a load of wood and had just dumped them on top of the clean dishes that she had just washed. And then he laid down in front of the fire and he fell asleep. Because the next thing that he knows, she's on top of him, just beating the snot out of him. And he's like, oh, what's going on? And he was like, I grabbed the hold of the first thing that I could get my hands on, which was the cat. And he said, and I grabbed that cat and I pulled its tail and I threw it on her back and took off running. So, I got to hear stories like that. I mean, like, my grandfather, to meet him, you were like, oh, he's a really calm, mellow guy. And, like, he had some, oh, my gosh. Yeah. He was such a stinker when he was a kid.
It sounds like
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, just hearing things like that that's great. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So continue to look for YouTube resources wherever I was going with that. I don't even remember. But there is some cool stuff happening in the homesteading community. Now, I know there is the national homesteading community, and then there is the regional homesteading community, and then there's the local homestead community. We're about all of those. We want to be a part of the national community. We want to be a part of the regional community. We want to be a part of local. Locally, we're joining Big Family Homestead is putting together a gathering on June 3rd. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen at the Visitors Center at Caesars Creek Lake, June 3rd, and all of the details will start coming forthwith. We'll get directions to you. We'll get times to you. It is a privilege to walk beside Brad and Krista as we build community. We're really targeting the tri-state area.
But anybody's welcome.
But anybody's welcome to come, and if you can get here, we will have that afternoon with
Road
you.
Trip.
Totally. And it's going to be under a pavilion, a picnic area that's rather large. It's got a playground next to it. There's a lake there. There's a lot for you to do with your family, and we invite you to come and be a part of that. There's many reasons why being in community helps, and one of those reasons is for you to know that you're not crazy and thinking about homesteading and to learn new ideas, to network with others that don't have necessarily the skills you have. I'm a chicken guy. I'm trying to broaden my horizons to being a rabbit guy. Today's setback kind of makes me mad, but I'll get over it, and it'll be okay. But I think that as we build community in our area, we're going to try to teach that or show that to others so that they can have local homesteading community. Some of us, they don't want that community. Others of us do. Yeah. And so we would encourage you guys to be teachable and glean from one another things that you didn't know how to do. And if you have June 3rd free, Caesars Creek is in Ohio, and it's in southern Ohio.
It's outside of Waynesville.
Outside of a little town called Waynesville. And I know I'm talking to people from California and Texas and that kind of thing. And so coming here on this night, on a Tuesday night, we're blessed to have you here, and we're going to try to make community here. I'm shocked that we almost have 500 subscribers. That just blows my mind. And we're going to continue to do our story. We are homesteaders, and we're going to continue to share our journey on YouTube so that you can join and be a part of the community that Goin Batty has. But locally, we are going to come together, and I think that's so important. So as you see us do it, we're gonna put it all on YouTube. It'll kind of be funny because I bet Big Family Homestead will put it on video. I'll put it on video, and then all the other homesteaders will put it on video, too, yeah. And you'll get to see it from all different angles.
Somebody was with Brad and Krista's channel. That one of the comments I think was like you should do a live feed.
Yeah.
Do it like that, and then I think that's also like an encouragement to you guys living in all of these other places like Texas and Florida and California and all that. Like you can do the same thing. Like find people who are around you,
like-minded,
and weed them out. Make sure you don't have the crazies, but but know that there are other people who want. It's like I want to learn from other people because we're so new at this. I want that community. I want to be able to go. Okay, so how would you do this, or how would you do that? And I need somebody who is 3 or 4 steps ahead of me to show me how to do that.
Absolutely. And imagine this: if you are an urban homesteader, you have as much to teach us as if you're a homesteader with 40 acres.
Because you're doing it on a small scale.
You're doing it on a different level.
Sometimes I think like you could actually be more valuable in some of these communities where people are like, well, I live in an apartment, I can't do that. Like, you can get a couple of pots, put a couple of plants, even a
Good
little.
night, little. I have how do I say that? Little Medez.
I guess. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we screwed that up again. But good night. Have a great night. We appreciate you watching.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
But
we're gonna
yeah.
have to probably get going.
Yeah, we got to
because
get
we're
off
going
too. We're going over,
Yeah.
but we want you to make sure that you're that you know about that and that you're looking at the community aspect of what you do. Gosh, thanks for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to next week because I know that there's God's got some things cooking. I do this little thing on Saturday. It's a devotional. If you are interested at all in getting deeper in your walk with God, I'd love to invite you to be a part of that on Saturday mornings at 10:30. I do a live feed and we go through some stuff in the Bible. So we're a believing family. We're gonna pray before we go, and if that's not your thing, that's cool. We'll see you at the other videos. You can by all means stick around and join us as we pray. But man, we're blessed to have you guys with us tonight. And we hope that you've enjoyed spending a little time with us. We're just kind of in awe that the community that we're building around us is so awesome and supportive and encouraging. And we just want to thank all you guys. So anyway, let's pray.
Okay.
God, I thank you for the opportunity to share thoughts and to have conversation around homesteading. Lord, we know that in each life that's on this feed right now, you're doing something amazing. I love how you use ordinary people to do extraordinary things. God, bless the gardens that have started. Bless the livestock that is in the hands of all these folks. Bless the cooking and the recipes and the canning and all the things that are about to start. Thank you for this summer season where things will grow and flourish. God, we pray that as they grow and flourish, we would find ourselves seeking your will and not our own. God, thanks for what you've done to teach us how to live, and we ask for your blessing on the Goin Batty channel and all that we're trying to teach our kids, all that we're trying to teach ourselves, and what we're experiencing on a regular basis. We pray these things in your son's awesome name. Amen. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it. Guys, good night. We're so glad you joined us.